Shalom, shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bashem Abishai, Bashem Rakakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. To the confusion of faith brothers joined unto our ranks, the hopefully elect, the aquat that are listening and learning, to you I say shalom. This is your brother Malcolm coming at you with another lesson from the branch of GMS here in Chicago. And basically, this video is just going to be about what you see on the screen. The system of Edomite supremacy is crumbling. And along with that crumbling of Edomite supremacy, they're going to lash out in anger at Jacob. Because they're going to, because the time of Jacob's trouble is fastly approaching. Actually, truth be said, the time of Jacob's trouble is here. It's upon you, but it's really going to get really, really bad, man. You know, if you watch movies like, if you've never seen any of those Purge movies, I suggest you start with the last one, and then go back and watch the other three in order. Start with the last one first, the first Purge, then go back and watch Purge 1, 2, and 3. I would suggest that you do that if you haven't seen them, because that's going to give you a pretty good depiction of how violent, how crazy, how insane it's going to be. And these Edomites are preparing for destruction, man. And we've been matter of fact, let's get a scripture. Let's start with Ezekiel. No, not that one. Jeremiah 28:8. And it reads, "The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence." All right. The prophet which prophesied peace, when the word of the prophet shall come to pass, then shall the prophet be known that the Lord hath truly sent him. And see, there is no peace. As it says in 1 Thessalonians 5:3, if I believe, it says, "For when they say peace and safety, then certain destruction shall come." And destruction is upon America and the world. This system is breaking down with all the proxy wars that's going on. All right. Meanwhile, the system which is set up to support and take care of its system is crumbling. And the reason that it's crumbling is because of the debt. And all the money is going to the military effort instead of to taking care of the infrastructure and the people. Which, if America didn't go and put its nose in everyone's business and piled up enemy upon enemy, they wouldn't have to do so. All right. Let's read another scripture. Then we're going to let a video play. Not this particular video. We're going to switch to another one from the same guy. This is the Silver Report. And this guy gives out very important and pertinent information, which should not be taken lightly, because here's the times that we're in. This is Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 3. "And the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and grinders shall cease because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened." What that means, or what they're saying, is that there's not a lot of jobs and opportunity. All right? And the grinders meaning up with all the jobs and all the things that are shutting down. Right? Because America is a consumer nation and not a productive nation. We don't produce things here in this country. All right? It's broke and it can't be fixed. It's falling and it can't get up. All right? So let's click on this other video and let him speak. Play close attention. What the hell is all this?
Welcome to the Silver Report Uncut. Now, I wanted to start by saying, come over and check out our other channel. It's called Grow at Home Farm. The entire purpose is to try to teach people how to grow at home.
So he has a whole nother channel that's about growing food at home. Why is that? Think about it. It's going to be no food in the stores.
So if you would like to know how to grow food at your own house, stop.
Or you won't be able to afford it.
Come over and subscribe to the channel, guys. Now, the most surprising thing that we have been seeing recently is the fact that so many people just think this expansion can continue to go on. When we examine what has taken place just since 2009, the S&P 500 index has actually risen from 667 points to 2,930. That's up 440%. Now, GDP in the same time period is up around 42%. So it's risen from $14.45 trillion to $20.5 trillion. That puts the growth of this stock market bubble at extremely high levels. It's been growing at an exponentially higher rate than GDP, and if the troubles that we found ourselves in prior to 2008 were great enough to shake up the entire global financial system, what are we going to do with the fallout from a bubble of this magnitude? We have been seeing the decline in the manufacturing sector for some time now. In fact, we've been seeing these layoffs continue to accelerate. We take a look at what's going on in Minnesota. Fast Global Solutions, they're a company. They make products for airlines, agricultural sprayers. They've actually announced that they're going to be cutting 10 to 15% of their workforce across all of its locations. Now, Fast Global Solutions happened to be located in Falls City in 1989. The company employs 85 people at that particular location. Now, they also have a plant in Auburn, and they have 143 people working there. It happens to make it one of the town's largest for-profit employers in Auburn and one of the city's largest employers in Falls City. Now, digging into what's been going on at 3M, we see them announcing that they're going to be cutting 2,000 jobs. Now, we do know the beginning of 2019 was not going very well for them. Now, of course, 3M, they make Post-it notes, industrial coatings, ceramics. Now, 3M also lowered their full-year earnings guidance. And even though they had the negative guidance, they still found that their revenue was only $7.86 billion for the first quarter. So that's down 5% year over year. We also see Ledvance LLC. Now, they happen to be a light bulb manufacturer located in Pennsylvania. But the head of communications, Glenn Garcia, he said there's been a falling demand of traditional light bulbs. The company has reached a point where it's no longer economically viable to continue operations. So officials at the plant said that they have a plan to completely phase out the plant by the end of October and then decommission the facility completely by the end of the summer of 2020. Now, this is affecting around 175 employees. And the impact on the community around some of these closing facilities. So Shaw Industries also announced that they're going to be closing down one of their plants in Chatsworth, Georgia. They happen to be America's largest carpet maker, and they've been continuing to shrink their operations. So according to the Georgia Department of Labor, Shaw said that they're going to be closing the plant on May 12th, and it will affect 260 employees. Now, the company operates more than 65 manufacturing facilities. Ethan Allen also announced that they're going to be laying off workers. They also announced they're going to be laying off 325 workers from their manufacturing plant that they plan on closing in Old Fort, North Carolina. Now, in addition to the 325 layoffs in the manufacturing plant in North Carolina, Ethan Allen also announced that they're going to have another 55 layoffs. And that was a distribution center, but that location is going to happen to be closing as a result of this move. Now, another company whose name is Fuel Cell Energy Incorporated, in fact, just Friday they announced that they're going to have 135 employees that will be losing their jobs. Now, Fuel Cell, they happen to report a $33 million loss in the first quarter, and their revenue was down by more than half. So for a company with 430 employees, 135 is definitely not a small number. Now, this is a trend we've been continuing to see across the board. We're seeing this serious contraction, the sales are not present, and over it's the same story. We also see that at the Arconic facility in New Kensington, there was an announcement that there's going to be 100 employees that are going to be losing their job. Now, they have over 1,000 employees located in Pittsburgh, New Kensington, and Cranberry. Companies are continuing to try to find ways, and over they keep announcing this cost-saving measures. So if money is so tight at this point that it literally is costing you the jobs of hundreds of employees just to be able to continue to keep that low margin. Now, the company NN Incorporated, they announced Friday that they were going to be closing their Johnson City operations at the end of June. Now, the company used to have a bearings production plant in Irwin and Mountain City. Those were sold in 2017. Now, we know exactly what's been going on with the auto loans. We have more than 7 million people that are in serious default at this point. So people, they've not had the extra capital to be able to make good on their auto loans. And for the most part, a lot of people wanted to say that this was a very isolated instance. In fact, when we covered that segment not too long ago, they were discussing that auto loans were in a very, very precarious position because most of the other credit quality has increased somewhat. But that's all changing at this point, because whenever you look at the advanced data from Bloomberg Intelligence, we see that the first quarter of 2019 saw a huge jump in the nationwide credit card charge-off rate. So defaults, they rose to 3.82%. That is the highest that we've seen in 7 years, since the second quarter of 2012. There's also other troubling signs among credit quality, because the number of loans that are 30 days past due, this would be a leading indicator for future write-offs, that happened to have jumped at all 7 of the largest U.S. card issuers.
Wow.
Now, Capital One, they just said this week that their first quarter U.S. card charge-off rate, it climbed to 5.04%. Now, that was 4.64% just at the end of 2018, so that is a pretty large jump. At Discover, they reported the results on Thursday. The charge-off rate rose to 3.5%. Now, in the last quarter of 2018, Discover Financial Services, they had a charge-off rate of 3.23%. So we see this huge jump in charge-offs. And what a lot of the credit card issuers are happening to point the finger at this point have been these increased FICO scores. Now what they're saying is that we have a FICO score bubble, if you will. That there's been a problem that's been developing that is artificially
New Complexion Rescue Hydrating Foundation Stick. Full of fresh hydration, free of pore clogged
inflated FICO scores, and it could be leading us to some very difficult times ahead for our economy. Now, it's known as credit score inflation. It would be the idea that debtors are actually riskier than their scores indicate due to metrics not accounting for a moderately peaceful economy.
Did you hear that? Your credit score is basically not giving you a true measure. So it's saying people with good credit scores are actually credit risk now. It's over. America is finished. Okay? Literally, America is an HIV patient who appears healthy, but is about to go full-blown AIDS.
Now keep in mind, it was only a couple years ago when they went and they manipulated everyone's FICO scores higher just to be able to try to expand the pool of people that they can lend to. But what these experts are saying is that they've given this very, very bad perception of a borrower's credit quality based on the FICO scores alone. That means that when a recession finally happens, the exposure by banks could be much more significant than a lot of these Federal Reserve stress tests are really letting on. Now there are 15 million more consumers with credit scores above 740 today than there were in 2006. And there are actually 15 million fewer customers with scores below 660, according to Moody's Investor Services. Now, Richard Fairbank, he's the CEO of Capital One. Now, they happen to be the third largest credit card issuer in the United States. He was on a conference call Thursday, and what he said was that we've had this degradation in credit quality for certain customers. He also said that some customers with negative credit events during the financial crisis are now seeing those problems disappear from their credit bureau reports. And these same customers are just as unlikely to repay their credit card bill, even if they have a FICO score of 750 at this point.
You hear that? People with the score of 750 are unlikely to pay their bills. That's how bad it's gotten. All right? And you are truly judged in America by your credit score. Truly. Which is a false and an unfair measure, especially when it comes to Jacob. And so one of the fake and false things which they've been balancing and controlling everything with has been these FICO scores. This place is truly finished. All right? And it's going to anger a lot of Edomites, man. And they're going to lash out. Right? While Jake is partying and having a good time and smoking and joking, partying bullshit, you know, a lot of these Edomites, man, they're teaching their children how to shoot, how to survive in the woods, how to make fires, tactics. You can click on videos, man, where you got, 8, 9, 10-year-old, 12, 13-year-old girls hitting targets, running and moving and hitting targets, man. They are getting ready for you Jakes, man, for you niggas. Just heard a story, was listening to the Bay Area camp about some Jake that knocked on somebody's door to asking for directions and got met in the face with a shotgun, man. All right? Because you best believe when this system falls, they're going to blame someone. And the people that's going to get blamed are Israelites, man. Niggas and spiggers. All right? You're going to be the main ones that they come after. All right? Because that time of Jacob trouble is at hand. This is, let's go to the book of Daniel 12 and verse 1. And it reads, "And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince withstandeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even the same time at the time of thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book." So only the elect is going to get delivered out of this. And this is going to be a time worse than all the horrific times before. You got to remember, man, over 500 million so-called Native Americans got put to death by the red Hebrew Edomites, man. And only Yahweh knows how many hundreds of millions down in South America. And it was given that over 100 million so-called Negroes died on the way over here to the Americas. That's how brutal the slavery was. That was on the way over here. Not to count all the different things that happened in the different island nations that they were taken to, and the trials and horrors of slavery. And it says it's going to be worse than all those things, man. Yeah, they're going to be killing you, man. They're going to be killing Jake so bad that Jake going to think they're getting exterminated, man. But only the elect is going to be surviving this. Hey, that's why they have laws that allow them to bring in guillotines. Why? So they can just put you in those camps and cut your heads clean off, and then they're going to use your body parts, your organs, man, because Jacob's still the strongest, even in his weakened state. And they're going to make market of your heart, your lungs, your liver, your kidneys, your eyes, all of that. They even may be taking Jake's rods, man. All right, because they know Jake be packing that meat, man. They're going to be doing all kind of things to you. All right, let's get one more scripture, man, and shut this down. Just like America's about to shut down for you people who think just because your alarm clock went on, you still got a job to go to that is going to be there tomorrow. All right, this is Ezekiel 9 and 4, and it reads, "And Yahweh said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof." All right, and that mark is this knowledge, the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, coming back to your heritage and following the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability and doing the work. All right, not just admitting you're an Israelite and then you thinking you cool, and that's okay. You're not trying to keep the Sabbath. You're not trying to grow your beard. Your women are still jumping from penis to penis. All right. This is Ezekiel 9 and 5. "And the others, he said in my hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite," which means kill, it's violence. "Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women. But come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and began at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient man which were before the house," man. So all you old Christians up in them wicked whorehouses you call churches, man, like the Bible calls them, the Lord's going to begin with you. And they showed you that in that first purge, because they went straight to that church and they killed both northern and southern kingdom up in there. Call Halal Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Rakakwadash Wa Abba Babal.